You're listening to the world-famous White Roof Radio, Woofcast number 603, recorded Thursday, August 18th, 2016. Tonight brought to you by CravenSpeed.com, MotoringStripes.com, and OutMotoring.com. Mini performance, speed, and style, it's OutMotoring.com. Hey everybody, it's DB in Arizona, bringing you a brand new episode of the world-famous White Roof Radio, still celebrating our 11th year podcasting with episode number 603. Joining us this evening, as always, my good friend Todd Pearson, MotoringStripes.com. Todd, say hi.
Hello.
Hello. And the good ribbons here this evening as well from DetroitTune.com, Mr. Chad Miller. Chad?
Hallelujah. Praise be his name. Hi.
That's really funny.
He's just getting ready for his wedding coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. You got a wedding. I gotta make it happen.
Nice.
Not my wedding.
You're performing a wedding. You're not getting married again.
Chad's not getting married again, right? And no Alex this evening. He's still on his French sabbatical, and no Gabe either. And he's gonna be disappointed because I'm talking about shoes tonight. So Gabe's gonna miss out. Drat. Anyway, fellas, how are we doing this evening?
I'm doing all right.
Excellent. Chad, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing well. We grilled out tonight. It's actually not too humid. This is the Woodward Dream Cruise week where every car in the world actually comes out to one stretch of road and sees everybody else sitting on the side of the road watching you drive by.
Oh, that sounds pretty cool.
It is actually. You know, it's kind of neat if you've never been to a Woodward Dream Cruise. Cars that you never would have thought are actually here are here, and they come out and they cruise that road, and you're like, wow, there's an original 66 Mustang, and then the original 67 Camaro, and then there's a Bugatti, and then a Lamborghini, and then there's 3 Ferraris together, and then you're like, is that an Edsel? Yeah, it is an Edsel. You know, like... And then, you know, giant monster trucks and golf carts that shouldn't be out there and just whatever. Yeah, I mean, Wednesday night was Corvette night, and it was like literally every third car on Woodward, and it was bumper-to-bumper traffic, was a Corvette.
Wow.
So if you've ever wanted to be in a spot where there was a lot of Corvettes, it should have been last night on Woodward.
I figure that's Detroit all the time, isn't it, though?
Yeah, it pretty much is. And, you know, my lady friend was commenting on, you know, how there were quite a few cool cars around where she was at, but not the amount where it is here. And I had to kind of explain on how the big 3 are here and how everybody and everybody's family have lived here. And they all bought this car when they first got in, and that car's been in the family forever. And all those cars are still here. So it's kind of neat to see a lot of those things, and you get kind of geeked out when you find that really rare car, that one you really, really like. So
El Camino, as you know.
Yeah. There'll be, you know, a ton of them out there this weekend. I'm sure I've seen 1 or 2 already. And
that's the way to get DB there.
Didn't even think about it. But, you know, it's actually funny because we were 2 weekends ago, I was driving through the back roads of Ohio, and I found an El Camino that was for sale. And I was like, ooh, DB wants this. I was going to take pictures and send it to him.
You should have taken pictures because I want that.
Yeah. It was a mid 80s, you know, the kind of squared off Monte Carlo Malibu style, and it was nice. It was clean.
The one that's got the little baby 318 engine in it. Yeah, that's the Woodward Dream Cruise. Go check that. It's a big thing over there in Detroit.
Yeah, so we're all planning on figuring out what to do and how to get there, and me and a couple of buddies, we're all going to go out and do some cruising, and we're kind of trying to figure out what car we're going to take. And we're going to take a Mini, we're going to take another Mini, or the Volkswagen Cabrio, or my Nova, or what. And so I think we're going to actually take the Nova out because it needs some stretching and some legs. So
yeah, I vote the Nova for sure.
Yeah, it's got a small fuel leak, but it's small, and we'll just take a fire extinguisher. We'll be fine.
You'll be fine. That's an old Chevy. They all leak a little bit of fuel. It's just a weep, Chad. It's not really a leak.
It's a seepage.
It's a little seep. That's all.
it's not a gusher.
You'll be fine. I wouldn't worry.
We'll be good. So,
excellent.
If you see me out there, wave. Honk at your horns.
Yeah, honk your horn. If you go by and find our man Chad, he's going to be out there. It'll be cool.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of news from MotoringFile.com. We have some other things we're going to talk about. We did some quick poking around. We're going to have a short show. Todd's on it feels like Todd, you're almost out of gin, right? You're in your third?
Oh, I'm not almost out of gin, dude. The house is full of gin right now.
Okay, good.
And so am I. So
So there you go. We're going to have kind of a short show for you guys this week. We're going to get to all that here in just a minute. I want to remind you guys first about one of the fine sponsors here underneath the White Roof, our friends over at outmotoring.com. This is the part of the show where I said I was going to talk about shoes, and I'm not lying. Aaron is now carrying the Pilates Spider shoes. For those of you who like a nice racing shoe, the Pilates is the one to get. One of the ones to get. They're really nice.
They're back. They went out of business a few years ago, and now they're back.
They stopped making Pilates for a while.
They did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, Aaron's got all of them over at outmotoring.com. If you get the email, you've already seen them. All the Pilates, not only the Pilates, but all the Pumas as well. A couple of different the Puma mini shoes. If you want the actual mini logoed shoe, you want to get the Puma ones, the all leather one that Gabe likes so much that I really don't care for. And then the tan one, which I don't care for, but the Pilates. Yeah.
Those are good. I own a pair of Pilates driving shoes, and they are awesome. They are awesomely comfortable on top of it, too.
Yeah, and they're not that expensive. They're about $150, $170, $150. Not too horrible for that kind of shoe.
It's worth it. I personally recommend those shoes along with the Pumas. Those are the right now the only two shoes I wear: Pumas and Pilates. So
Pilates, nice, and those will help you with your heel toe. So if you're trying to do heel toe, you gotta have the right shoes. Yes. Anyway, Outmotoring's got the Pilates shoes. Outmotoring also has the mini felt winged logo hat, which is super nice. You should go over and pick one of those out. And also, this is this really cool thing, a rechargeable LED. You plug this little light into your cigarette lighter. It charges right there, and you always have a light whenever you need it.
I have one of those also. They're awesome.
That's super cool. And for those of you who need this kind of thing, the British flag litter bag, you got to have that in your car. Just hang it from like your rear headrest or something. Also available at outmotoring.com. Not only these really cool accessories at Outmotoring, but like a full line of DIY parts for your Mini to fix everything that's broken. Everything. They're adding something like 3,000 new items to the website every month. And that's everything from accessories and personal stuff all the way down to like the very small little body detail pieces. The clips or that one piece that you need for your body kit that you lost in a car wash, the one that I was missing for a really long time. You can get that from outmotoring.com. All the parts to, do your own oil change, tune-ups, all those things available over at outmotoring.com. Don't forget that when you are there, I want you to be sure that you sign up for the email newsletter, and you can do that right from the homepage. It actually prompts you at the bottom of the page. And make sure you sign up. And when you do sign up, that's a really cool thing is you get your own 5% discount coupon every time you get an email. Super duper awesome. That, of course, available from our friend over at Outmotoring. Outmotoring.com. Many performance, speed, and the Pilates Spider shoes. That's outmotoring.com.
Yes.
News music, Maestro, if you'd be so kind.
Oh, there it is.
Skype's telling me somebody says something. I don't care. I'll come back. The Detroit Tune Supercharger. Got it.
Yeah.
That's what they're selling at Outmotoring now?
Yeah, they're selling him out Outmotoring. He goes, it's the most badass world-changing supercharger you will ever buy. like his, I'm trying to find the email right now, and I don't think it's actually in my my other box here, but it was pretty hilarious to see his email on this. I'm trying to find.
Oh, I got it too. It was the email of the month, right?
Yeah, the email of the month. It all came out, and
Here
it was
it
like
is,
the most badass supercharger ever.
Oh, it was last month or last week. It was last week.
Yeah, it was last week. Yeah,
it's Pilates shoes today.
Yeah, so that was our supercharger. I was like, oh, that's a good email.
Yeah. By the way, my friend Andre, he finally got his Mini up and running. I think he bought a supercharger from you.
Could have been. Yeah, we've been selling quite a few lately.
Yeah, I bought a supercharger and I don't know what else. And he had this piece of crap 2002 Cooper S that he put back together and rebuilt, and it's running like a top now.
That's awesome.
I did a search for Detroit Tuned over at Outmotoring. He's got quite a few things that you make, Chad.
Yeah. We've been working together well.
Nice. The Detroit Tuned bypass valve, the big brake kit, the rebuilt supercharger, the microspace saving, the really cool spare tire bags that your mom makes with love.
Wow, that rechargeable light is $30. It's $28.
$28.
But here's the cool thing: when you plug it in, little blue lights light up as it's charging, so that
See, that's rad.
you can always see it. But
just for that, you guys need to get one of those.
well, here's the thing, though: in the F56 generation cars, the 2014 plus, it's so up under the dash you can't see it.
Oh, well, that's lame. If you have an R56, though, you got to have it. Go get it.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So instead, what I recommend in the F56 is the Mini makes this. It's a dual USB plug, which then gives your Mini 3 USBs, which I have to say was very convenient on Mini Takes Estates.
I can imagine.
It was very nice to have 3 of them. Although I hardwired my Valentine 1. I went all the way to the fuse box and plugged it in, so it's very stealth now.
Oh, so you don't have like wires hanging all over the place?
Correct.
Good times.
Correct.
Oh, you must share photos with that so others in the White Roof Radio listening audience can admire your handiwork.
Yeah, it was fun. And the other thing too is it used to be really easy to get to the fuse panel in a Mini. Not so much anymore. It's on the other side of the car. It's underneath the glove box, and it's literally up, under, behind. It's not a fun thing to get to.
Okay.
It's possible, but it's not fun.
But you still did it, so nice job.
I did it. I'm not afraid to rip my car apart.
There you go. If we click over to MotoringFile.com, there's a couple things we wanted to point out. A lot of racing action. Gabe was over at Road America, so he's got a lot of reports from the Mini JCW team who ended up did okay, but they had they weren't without issues. So go over there, and there's a ton of pictures on the MotoringFile Instagram too. If you missed any of those, go over and check them out. Gabe also has the BMW X1 currently in the garage. So there'll be a post coming about that here very soon as well.
Well, and I'll give you the short version of this because he and I have been texting back and forth on this car because we had the discussion a couple of weeks ago when Gabe was on the show.
Right.
About how the X1 is something people could cross shop for, with the Clubman, because right now you go in and you put all 4 on a Clubman and then you load it up with the same equipment you'd get on an average equipped X1. And the Clubman ends up at like 45, 46 grand.
Okay.
Right? Well, you walk 100 steps over to the BMW dealer, usually. You walk over to the BMW dealer and you look at the X1 and you're like, well, wait a minute. For the same price or less, for like $43,000, $44,000, I can buy this X1. It's got all that built in. I don't have to crank it up on everything.
Wow.
M Sport package, all of this, head-up display.
Yeah.
Leather interior, backup camera.
Interesting.
And
the X1 is essentially the same as the next Countryman.
Yes, and the X1 has the same engine in it as the JCW. It is identical. It is the same 2-liter 4-cylinder engine in the JCW, pumping out 228 horsepower and whatever torque, but the same mileage. So it's identical to it. Wow. But anyway, so Gabe and I have been, chatting back and forth on this car, and he hated it. He didn't like the X1 at all. He says the Clubman's such a better value and a better car, which I'm not sure I agree with him, but I haven't driven an X1 more than just, around the block a little bit.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to hear his take on it, and it seemed like it was honest because he was telling me it's not just, his normal fanboy stuff that he posts over on MotoringFile.
Right.
I say that because he's not listening, and he's not going to listen.
Although I think he listened to the last show.
Maybe, but I have a feeling when he talks about the comparison, because he has the Clubman still and this driving him back to back, and he likes the Clubman better.
Well, so if Gabe's not liking the X1, logic says that there's a chance that he might not like the new Countryman either.
It's an interesting question.
Well, we'll have to get Mr. Bridger on about that and see what he says.
Yep. So yeah, I'm sure we should see that in the next week or so.
I would imagine so as well. And then also over at MotoringFile is we've got worldwide mini sales hitting a record high in July.
And we hear the party, the whistles and horns and cheering and everything until we realize that in the U.S., sales were still down by 8%.
Yeah.
In July. And we all are left scratching our collective heads.
I'm still at a loss for this. Chad, we discussed this previously, but you're doing good business at the shop right now.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
And Todd, you're coming off of one of the busiest years you've had doing motoring stripes in a while, right?
Yes, sir.
Where's all these people coming from that are giving you guys so much money? Are they buying? Are they jumping? Is it the increase of owners in the used market? Possibly, they're the ones that are coming in and they're becoming enthusiasts, but they're buying like the older R56s or even the little bit older F56s. Is that what?
Well, I think yeah, definitely for me, it's people like I bought so and so's old R53. I want to do this, this, and this. I was like, okay, I know all about that car. Like,
I know a
it
guy.
only needs this. It's good to go. Like, no, I mean, I'm having multiple people call me and it's like, hey, I bought so and so's R53. I want to do this because they said you guys knew what you're doing, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, well, let's talk about what you want to do, and let's see the car. We haven't seen it in about 6 months. Let's bring it in. We'll talk. So,
and for me,
I definitely think that's a huge part of my business.
Right.
I know that we're getting more R56s than ever. I don't know if the F56 is really starting to be in that secondhand market, but a little bit, maybe just a hair.
Yeah. I don't know. Here in Phoenix, I see new minis all the time.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of them here too, and
4-doors. I see a lot of F56s. I think I've seen one new convertible.
I keep I keep a track of a lot of people on the internet, various groups and stuff like that, and I see a lot of people trading from like a 11 or 12 or maybe even a 13 to a brand new 16 Countryman or something like that.
Right.
So I see a lot of deals out there with the Countrymans because we'd talked about this on previous shows that there's going to be a surplus of Countrymans
which they
got rid of the Paceman.
Yeah, but now they've dialed that back again. They renegotiated. There's still going to be a bunch of Countrymen because they're going to be at the dealers through the end of the year.
Right.
But yeah, there's still going to be a bunch.
But I think there's some deals to had out there. So I see some people that have had a car X and they have upgraded to car Y. So that they've definitely, we knocked 3 years off our car and it's got brand new mileage and stuff. So it's the people that are still, they haven't quite got hit with that car. It's like, why is it using so much oil? Why is it doing this? Why is it doing that? It's like, well, yeah, all these cars at this time do that. And it's like, well, why? It's like, because you followed the dealer maintenance schedule. So they're moving up to the next car. So they're still selling cars because they're giving them a good trade-in and that type of stuff, but they haven't got hit with that, oh my God, the maintenance program,
The 8% drop in sales to last year, that's just weird. I don't know. Maybe just because all there is right now is either the 4-door or the Countryman, which is now old, or the Clubman, which is some people are probably looking at and being too expensive.
Well, we'll put it this way. We said it a couple of shows ago that the used mini sales are up. They're at like a record level for minis, and they do keep track of that. Mm-hmm. And they're up like 14% for the year. So for me, I would say the last 2 cars I've done have been older cars. R56s that people brought in, and they said, oh, I just bought this car. Can you put stripes on it? Sure. And I have been, there's enough cars out there on the streets today that I will tell you I am at a body shop, a various body shop, probably 3 days out of the week repairing cars.
Oh.
And that's a great business to be in. I mean, I've basically, hey, I put stripes on this car 4 years ago. They wrecked it. It's at the body shop. Insurance is going to pay for it. That keeps me in business.
Right.
So there's a little bit of both of those things that eventually I've done so many that, hey, the math just catches up with you, and I've got constant business. So there's a little bit of that because I'll have to say that new cars, I haven't been doing that many brand new ones. I mean, it's gone from 5 to 10 a week, probably 10 a week on average, down to more like 3 to 5. So It has slowed a bit for me on the new car end. But like Chad says, hey, there's a lot of people, cross-grading or downgrading or, like we did, traded in a 14 for a Roadster.
Oh,
so,
right.
And I don't think that's uncommon right now. I really don't think that's uncommon because a lot of people are going, oh, it was more fun to drive, and I like the looks of it better.
Right.
And it's a buttload cheaper.
Yeah.
So
You're right.
You can't take that out of the equation to go, I could buy a car that's 3 years old. I can buy a 2013 for a ton less than I can buy a new car. And I like the looks of it better, and I like the handling better. So
Interesting.
So there you go.
Yeah, it still doesn't. I'm still confused with sales though. So,
Well, and here's the other thing I was going to bring up, and now that we're talking about that,
but it's well because I'm looking at this because sales in Canada are up and Mexico.
yeah, absolutely, U.S. is about the only place they're down around the world
Right.
of all the markets. Now, I was listening to our friends over at Motor Trend,
Right.
Charlie and Sean, and they interviewed Tom Noble, the head of marketing at Mini USA, and I believe in their interview from Mini Takes the States, Tom said, in regards to sales and why things are changing, the new branding that's coming out for Mini and everything's going upscale, blah, 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 was that, let's say 10 years ago, even 12 years ago, the number one and number two reason people bought Mini Coopers were number one was handling and number two was fuel economy. And right now, and I think number three was styling, but fuel economy has now dropped to like 6th or 7th place on that list, which either supports Gabe's theory of gas is cheap and so people don't shop for economical cars anymore.
Right.
Or, like my theory is that there are so many cars out there now that get just as good of mileage as a Mini, in the 30s, that it doesn't matter. All things being equal, people aren't shopping versus on fuel economy anymore because all cars get pretty decent gas mileage.
Right.
Unless you're buying a gas guzzler like a 7 Series or, a high-end sports car, a Porsche or, an F-Type Jag that gets crappy mileage.
This is on that cars.com list. Yeah, but you're right.
Yeah, so people are...
A Mazda 3, oddly enough, Mazda 3 does not get good gas mileage. Monroney sticker says like 22, 28.
And Mazda, even more so than Mini, has lost their way design-wise. Mazda cars are some of the ugliest cars on the road today, even uglier than, I don't know. They're pretty bad.
I think there's a ton of ugly cars on the road right now.
Yeah,
I mean tons. I don't care what manufacturer. There's a lot of really ugly cars now. Tesla, some Porsches. Those kind of cars are like, that still looks really good.
You know what, though? You know who's not making ugly cars? Ford. I think the new Mustang's a pretty good-looking car.
Yeah, it's not horrible, but there's some bad flaws in that car, too.
It's.
I don't think Ford makes
but it's much better than a lot of other cars. I'll tell you, it's way better than the Camaro.
What's that, DB?
I don't think Ford makes an ugly car right now.
Yeah, they probably do. I mean, the Transit van's pretty hideous.
Yeah, but it's hideous in some special way.
But it's totally functional.
It is.
It's completely functional.
It is. It's 100% functional.
Ugly.
I'll tell you, everybody with a full-size van right now sucks.
Yeah. But I mean, even the Taurus, and the Taurus is notoriously just a hideous automobile. They've made it look not horrible.
And I have to say that Honda, the new sport version of Civic's got a new back end and a new design, and the Accord Sport is it's a decent looking car. It's getting very BMW 3 Series like in its looks, and it's kind of an attractive sedan, if you will.
Yeah, it has gotten a little bit on the big side, however, I fear.
Yeah, I think
it's interesting. I was actually just looking at the Ford website. A lot of their cars all look exactly the same.
Yeah,
and their truck is actually kind of ugly. But all trucks right now have been ugly.
Trucks right now are ugly, but I think the Ford's better looking than the Chevy. But you've got the obviously the Fusion, which if you kind of tilt your head and squint, it kind of looks like an Aston Martin. A little bit.
It's got the grill.
Yeah, and then you've got the Focus and the Focus and the Fiesta, and those cars look very similar. All
the front ends on all those cars look exactly the same, which is actually just an Aston Martin.
Yeah. But I think the new Focus is a good-looking car.
It's not horrible.
It's not bad. Somebody traded in, speaking of Ford, a Fiesta, a 2013 Fiesta to the dealer the other day. And the guys, in their downtime when they're not working on Minis, they go through the used cars and they, check them out before they put them on the lot, make sure everything's good. And one of the techs drove up in a 2013 Fiesta, and it had crank windows. And we were all laughing. We're like, I didn't think anybody made crank windows. And I remember DB and I rented a Peugeot in London.
Peugeot 108, remember? And Kate was in the back seat, and she's all, crank windows.
But DB, they had electric windows in the front and crank in the back.
Yeah, that was so funny.
That was the crazy thing. So anyway, the Fiesta, 2013 Fiesta with crank windows, and the hubcaps on this were just absolutely horrible. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe. And this brings us full circle to something DB said a couple of weeks ago. How back in, 2002, 2003, Mini was on everybody's top 10 list for the best handling, most fun car. Right? So I decided, I'm like, hey, let's just see what's right now. Can we find anything, a list somewhere that says the best cars of 2016? And we came across a couple of lists, and one was Car and Driver.
Mm-hmm.
Their, best handling cars of 2016. And Mini was not on the top 10 list. However, a couple of cars that people cross-shop were on the list, namely the Volkswagen Golf GTI and Golf R. They put them all together.
The MX-5 Miata's on that list.
The Miata's on the list. The Mazda 3 is on the list.
Yep.
And
the BMW M2.
The M235i and the Camaro.
Yep.
I know that sounds weird, but in the price range, the Camaros seem to be selling very well, especially the SS version, although they're not competitively priced. I think they're pretty damn expensive.
Right.
But anyway, and the Tesla is on this list. Porsche Boxster, Cayman, GT350 Ford Shelby Mustang, the Cadillac CTS-V Sport. Of course the CTS-V is on the list.
Of course.
That car is a beast.
Yeah.
An absolute beast. So, and Honda Accord. That was rounding out the list of the things on Car and Driver's list. Well, lo and behold, then DB, what else did we found? We found out.
We found another story. This is from last December at Cars.com, which is the best cars for driving fun.
Yeah, the most fun cars.
2016 model cars that Cars.com, the guys over at Cars.com, which is also KBB.com, all those guys, they said these cars are a lot of fun to drive. We really enjoy these. And on that list is the BMW M235. A lot of people really like that car. And the Mini Cooper hardtop is on that list, which was pretty exciting.
I think it was actually number 2 on that list.
Number 2 on the list is actually the most inexpensive car. It's on a list with the Alfa Romeo 4C, the Audi RS7.
Which is ridiculous because the RS7 that's a $100,000 car.
Yeah, the Chevrolet SS, which is basically a rebadged Malibu.
Or is that the Cobalt?
What's that?
Or is that the Cobalt? No, it's a Malibu.
It's a Malibu.
Yeah.
It's giant. The Jaguar F-Type's on that list.
Of course.
The Mazda 6 is on that list. The AMG GT by Benz, that's on the list. Oh my God,
that's a ridiculously priced car right there.
And the Subaru BRZ's on this list, which I haven't seen the Subaru BRZ on any list like this in a while. And that's a car supposed to be a hoot to drive.
And then rounding out their top 10, of course,
is of course the GTI.
And so that's the one car that seems to be on quite a few lists. Right? And the Mini isn't on as many lists anymore as it used to be, but it was. I was shocked to see, and this is from December. I mean, forgive us for not seeing that sooner, because I think it's a pretty big deal, and I think in the right form, the Mini still is probably one of the most fun cars, especially for the price.
Yeah.
And they put it starting at the Cooper with, starting at $21,000.
Right, which is they included destination fee in that price. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, if you add the $900 the destination fee into that, that's actually what it costs.
And my recommendation for any new Mini is that you go to Chad and you have him put some lowering springs on it, or you get the JCW, the adjustable coilover suspension, which is a little bit overkill, but everybody that I've had drive my car says this car doesn't feel like the other new Minis I've driven. And I'm like, well, of course not. There's like a $3,000 suspension on it.
Yeah, get rid of the dune buggy look a little bit, and you have a little bit of fun with yourself for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I still think that's funny that that the Mini doesn't make those kind of lists anymore.
Yeah, but evidently made the Cars.com
and
list.
Back in 2003 and 2004 and 2005, everybody's tripping over themselves to add the Mini to their list in some way, shape, or form.
Well, and this, I think, speaks of how sad the landscape of cars is today.
Yeah.
Unless you have a crap ton of money. Like, if you can afford an F-Type, I applaud you right now. Go get an F-Type.
Yes, please.
Or an Audi RS7. That is one dead sexy car and fast.
Yeah.
That car is fast, but you're $100,000.
$100,000.
And
Exactly.
the Alpha, the Alfa Romeo 4C.
See, if you can find a 4C, first of all,
Right.
it's also expensive, like $70,000, right?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty expensive.
Expensive, but oh man, look at it. It looks like a Ferrari.
You're going to pay for that. So of this list, and even the M235 is a pretty damn expensive car. By the time
For $100,000, I'm going to pay off my house first.
Right. What does an
Just saying.
What does an M235 cost?
I think an M235i, once you put a lot of equipment on there, you're 50 to 60.
Let me see here. Let's
Check
go
it
look.
out. See if I'm right. I'm just pulling this out of my head.
The BMW website now. So if
You're just pulling that out of what you feel it is actually worth based on the looks and what you think cars are worth.
I'm gonna build.
I'm a car guy. Let's see how much.
Build a 2.
You know, that's interesting because you could actually, I mean, this could work for any car. When you look at a car, you'd be like, oh, that's got to be a $60,000 car or a $70,000 or, you know, well, you look at, you know, your Econo box, you're like, that car can't be more than $22,000 or something, you know, like that.
What you get is now it's the M240i is what you get if you're buying a 2016 or 2017. It's the M240i and it starts at $44,450.
So I was right.
$45,000.
By the time you
And
put some
if you want
equipment on
X
this.
drive, then it's $47 starting price.
So you're going to be
No, I was going to say, by the time you add a radio to it, it's $50,000.
Right?
you're going to be between $50,000 and $60,000, but you put
Oh, yeah, totally. Oh, you want traction control? Oh, that's another $15,000.
Yeah, we're going to keep it in Alpine White, and we'll put in. We want leather interior. It's an M car. Duh.
Yeah, of course.
And we want to just do packages. We got to have the cold weather package. We'll put in the driver assistance package, and heck, we'll do the driver assistance plus package instead. And then final options. Todd's going to 18-inch wheels,
Black wheels.
I'm going to leave it with the automatic transmission.
Yeah, that's very American.
We want the HK. We want CarPlay. $300 for CarPlay compatibility, which also adds the navigation, parking assistant, wireless charging, Wi-Fi hotspot. We don't need that. So I'm at $52,000 for an M2.
Yeah, and the one Car and Driver put together, the M235i, by the time they equipped it out, it was $48,800. So damn near $50,000.
Right there.
And that was the 235i, the 2016. Now DB is configuring the 2017 240. So
240 comes in. That's very nicely equipped.
Yeah.
At $52,000. So that's actually not that much higher than the base price. Really, base price was $45,000.
I don't know. We say that's ridiculous, and then my car was $43,000. So
yeah,
starts getting a little more, reality.
But that's crazy that you can that for not much more than what you paid for your car. I can get an M car.
Well, I will say this from Alex's perspective. I know he was shopping before he got his JCW. He was looking at the M235. But he goes, I just had the 135. It's kind of the same thing. He wanted to change it up because he did like it, maybe a little bit better. But it was more money. Like, I think the two, and I'll let him speak for himself when he comes back on the show, but I think what he told me was for his money, he'd rather, save a little bit, buy the JCW, because he, basically just got rid of his 135i.
Right.
And this one isn't that much different.
Yeah, you're right. So, anyway, I forgot where we were going with that.
We were just talking about,
.com thing, yeah.
the fact that the Mini of everything on this list, with the exception of the GTI, because I think I equipped, before I bought my JCW, I was shopping those, and by the time you get it equipped, and yeah, you can get really good deals on VWs now, but they're pretty competitive price-wise with the Mini, like MSRP.
Right.
Like equivalently equipped cars. Now, you can get the 4-door, you can get the 2-door, much like you can in a Mini, but for some reason, I don't know why the GTI people, they just love those cars.
Yeah, they really do. But, we just did that whole, the BMW, the M235 on and we're looking at that list at cars.com, and all these cars are costing, north of $50,000, except for the Mini and the GTI. Well, the GTI is what, 35?
No, the GTIs, you can get it in the under 40.
Under 40. So
Absolutely.
besides the Mini and the Volkswagen, all the other cars are all in the BRZ.
The BRZ.
So more than half of this list is north of $50,000. And like we talked about, was that last week, Tom? We were talking about that dining kit that you got on your car.
Yeah.
I still think that's going to be the hot setup on a Mini Cooper, just a regular old hardtop.
It is. I've been running it for 2 weeks now, and I can say my fuel economy is back down into the low 20s. It's back down to 21, 22 after my long trip. But
That's not bad for a
it's
car.
it's still an amazing punch in the seat. It is as much fun as I had when I put my first pulley on my first Mini.
Nice.
I mean, Chad, you remember your first mod on a Mini that made it go fast? You do a pulley, an intake, and an exhaust, and you're like, yeah, this thing's dialed in now. And then you just want more. You just want to keep going.
Oh yeah, and that's usually what most of my people, they're like, what's the next step? I was like, well, the next step is 10 grand.
Yeah.
Like, you ready to go? Like, I got it. Well, let's do it.
Yep.
They're like, man, you're like a crack dealer. I was like, well, hey, you just keep wanting more, And and I've always struggled with for years. People are like, I want this and this and this. I was like, let's just put this one thing on, and then you can do the next thing, and then the next thing. Oh no, I want them all right now. I was like, okay, but you're not going to see how any of this works, and then when you want the next step is going to be really big. So it's like,
right.
I can just taste a little bit of heroin right now, but then next thing you know, you shot it up. It's like, okay, well now it's death. Okay, there you go. So it's I'm always trying to make it so that you can kind of spread things out a little bit over a life, because there's a lot of people that they get bored with things after a while, and they want the next thing or the next big thing, and that's what the manufacturers of some of these new cars are doing. Your Camaros, your Mustangs, they're like, but it's got 1,000 horsepower. It's like,
well, and maybe, you know what, Chad, you just may have defined what is wrong with Mini sales in the U.S. Because as a society, we are so addicted to, DB and I are both iPhone guys, and DB, you're not as much as me, but every time a new iPhone comes out, I'm going to upgrade.
I upgrade. I'm on the every other cycle, so I can't. I just do it every other time because the iPhone's a good phone for me, so it lasts for 2 years.
Yeah, but still, you're like, hey, it's got some new features. I'm going to do it. It's for whatever it is. I have the desire to go ahead and go. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade. And I think for Minis for the long time, and my latest Mini before this one, I kept for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
There was no real reason to upgrade. I didn't feel like, okay, I'm missing something. Or, oh, this is so good. Even the GP2 almost swayed me to upgrade, but then it just wasn't quite enough for me. So maybe that's the problem, is that Mini just hasn't made far enough leaps in advancement of, hey, this car's fun to drive, it's powerful, they've done all of this. And from what Gabe said a couple of weeks ago when he was on the show, it sounds like the next iterations of the Mini engine, they're going to boost the horsepower and start competing a little bit more, at least now that they've got a 2-liter platform to go from.
Yeah.
Bump it up to where it's like, okay, we can be competitive now.
Exactly.
I
would have to agree.
Crossing my fingers that happens. And I think the Countryman is going to be our next peak inside, what Mini does. But here's the sad thing, is that Mini's owned by a bigger brand, BMW. And at some point, they're just competing with themselves.
Right.
Don't you think? Like, if they start adding features and they're like, oh, well, I can get all these features here, and I can get all these features.
Driving the price up any higher.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too.
And like you use that example, that 44, your car versus an M235.
Yeah.
Or the Clubman, a nicely equipped Clubman versus the X1.
Or shit, even the M235 now, you got to pay $300 to have CarPlay integration.
Right.
When you can go buy any Chevy, Hyundai, all kinds of other cars that have it built in for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is I'm always looking at cars, not necessarily on the tech or whatever, where I look at a phone going, oh, wow, I need that feature because that will make me be more productive or whatever. I'm looking at a car going, does it look cooler? Does it go faster? Can I mod it more? Can I be that first guy on the block that makes it sound awesome?
Well,
but if I'm just like, the car's kind of ugly, I don't really need that car.
And the one thing, I'm going to leave it with this, because I saw this recently and it's been floating around the social media advertisements, if you still have advertisements on your social media. It's one of the latest ads from Infiniti. And it's a guy driving a car, and you can't even see really what kind of car it is, but the lead of the advertisement is the most important thing about a car is the way it makes you feel. And you see the guy punch the accelerator and go and then put a big smile on his face. And I'm like, that is genius advertising, because that is the absolute truth. Chad, it's just what you said. I want to know how this car makes me feel. I want it to put a smile on my face like it did in 2002 and 2003 when we got into our very first Minis.
Yep.
And what's it going to take to do that? Or what's it going to take to convince people who've never driven one to get in one and put that smile on their face?
Right.
And Mini's missing the boat right now because they're like, oh, it's not fun to drive. It's premium.
Right. It's a hipster car, or it's whatever, hipster malarkey.
Well, and in the U.S., that marketing message is not selling, and it's evident, and we all agree. Even Gabe agrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain amount of premium that you can definitely have, but you still have to have that little bit of raw seat of your pants. I can just sit here and do a burnout, and it will make me smile. It doesn't do anything other than actually physically be legal, but it puts a smile on my face. And that's why certain muscle cars, quote unquote, make people buy them, because they're like crazy amount of horsepower that somebody can do, but I can just step on the gas and just do a burnout. And it's awesome.
And here, I'm going to tell you something.
And the Mini doesn't necessarily need to do that, but they need to have that smile factor.
No, but you know what does do that? I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let DB do a spot, and we're going to wrap the show. Is that my new Dynon chip in my car. So the other day, I was driving up the street, and I'm in third gear, and there's a guy in front of me, and I'm doing 40 miles an hour, 40, 45 in third gear. And he kind of slows down. And he's like just driving like a jackass in front of me. And there's 2 lanes open around me. And so I look over, I put my signal on, I go, and I punch it. I didn't even downshift in third gear, and the wheels spun.
Nice.
My JCW. I just punched it. I didn't downshift or anything. I punched it, and then this wheel just went, bird, and then chirped in third gear. And I'm like, that is what I want. That is so much fun. It put such a smile on my face to be able to have that and do that. And that is something I think that's sorely been missing from the Mini for quite a few years.
Yeah.
And I got to say, it's back, but you got to pay for it.
You got to pay for it, though.
It's not going to be cheap, yes.
In the JCW form, and then you got to put a Dynon chip on it.
It was actually kind of funny because as I was going out to get a haircut, I'm going towards Woodward. And every road that goes towards Woodward, you always see some cool cars because there are people that are like, they're just going out there. So I was pacing with a kind of a late 90s, mid 90s Mustang, a Mach 1, you know. And I was like, wow, he's got slicks on that thing. And it's really loud. I was like, okay, well, you know, he kind of punches it. And I was like, that was crazy loud, but whatever, you know. So we go off at a light and he starts to punch it. And I had already let the clutch out. I hadn't actually got on the gas yet. So I just floored it. I didn't have that wheel spin, but as soon as that supercharger got up, it got into,
Screams.
you know, it started screaming. And he was just spinning tires. And by the time I pulled second, I chirped and then I took off. And I was right at his door the entire time, you know. And it was a really good, fun little race. We were playing back and forth. We go up to the next line, and I'm like, well, how much horsepower, you know, what are you running? He goes, well, this is probably somewhere around 700. And I was like,
are you freaking kidding me?
I was like, okay, well, I'm glad I stayed with you at 250-ish, you know, somewhere. He's like, I'm like, well, my car weighs a lot less than yours. He's like, yeah, and I have a passenger. I was like, I'm blaming it on your passenger. That's cool, dude. You have a Mustang, and you're blaming it on the passenger. It's fine.
Hey, if your passenger's Louis Anderson, man. That's cool.
Yeah, so you know, it was funny. We were playing, and I was like, you know what? I'm staying right with you. This is great, you know. So I enjoyed myself. It was a good time.
Excellent. Let's take a minute. Let's remind you guys about one of the other fine sponsors here underneath the white roof. I want you guys to actually take a moment, and I want you to click over to cravenspeed.com. Actually, type it in your address bar. They got a brand new website. Very, very cool. I want you guys to go over, check it out. I want you to poke around, kick the tires, go find something nice for yourself, and, you know, buy it.
Buy all of the things.
Just buy all the things. They have stuff for your car even if you don't have a Mini. The stubby antenna, they make them for all different models. There's a whole bunch of stuff. They got parts for all different cars, not just Mini stuff. But the Mini stuff is dope, like the stubby antenna, the flex pod adapter, which is amazing. You really need that. The platypus license plate mount. If you have a car that if you live in a state where you have to have a front license plate, and the platypus license plate mount, not just for the Mini, get it for a BMW, get it for Cadillac, get it for Hyundai. Good grief. All of them. And, of course, the dipstick that you can read and won't break, especially if you have an R50, R53, or R56, or even a Ford. Oh, that's just the dipstick handle. Go over to cravenspeed.com. Check out all the different things. Make sure that you do sign up for the newsletter. You can do that at the bottom of all the pages. That way, anytime something new comes up, you'll hear about it right away. Super awesome. And don't forget, too, is if you're shopping at outmotoring.com, look for the Craven Speed stuff over there. And you kill two birds with one stone. Support both of our sponsors with one purchase. Super duper awesome.
Ta-da!
Just like that. You do the same thing if you go over to DetroitTune.com, or if you go talk to Waylon, or you go to Helix, or you go wherever you happen to go, and you get Craven Speed stuff, and you're getting Craven Speed stuff because you heard about them on White Roof Radio. Make sure you send an email over to Craven Speed. Say, hey, I bought some stuff, not from you guys direct, but I bought some stuff from this guy, and I bought it because, you guys support White Roof Radio. And if you buy stuff from cravenspeed.com directly from the site, there's a spot there to leave a comment. Why don't you guys make sure you say, thanks for supporting White Roof Radio. We really appreciate that. So do they. They, of course, are very long-time friends over at cravenspeed.com, serving Portland, Oregon since 2003. They've been a sponsor here. It's like almost as long as Out Motoring.
Almost.
It's been a while.
Yeah, same as MotoringFile. Craven Speed's OG, man. We love Kellen, and he drinks brown booze like a boss.
Who doesn't?
I mean, come on. We've been to Vegas with Kellen.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
I've seen Kellen with his eyes. They're just like a little slit.
Just little slits. Yeah. Back when we were a lot younger. Now he's got kids and stuff, and so he only has like one or two.
He is a baby's daddy.
Yes. So that's at cravenspeed.com. Go over there, check them out, please. If you would, we would really appreciate that. Thank you. And what was there something else after the break? Jesus. Oh, something.
This is where we make the clicking sounds.
Something new. So this is something I'm doing for the bicycle show over at ridebikesradio.com, and I want you guys to do it too. And I think we've already got somebody who's done it, and I'm going to keep an eye out for it. I'm tired of looking at MotoringFile for images for this week's show. I'm tired of going through my Flickr stream. That's boring, lame. I want to see pictures of your guys' minis. I want you guys to start tagging us. Tag White Roof Radio at White Roof Radio on the Twitter or Instagram with pictures of your car, or post it up over on the Facebook page. Okay, I want you guys to do this frequently and often. I'm going to start sorting through those, and the ones that I pick, I'm going to start using them to be featured during this week's show. I thought that'd be really fun. And you get full credit, obviously, and I'll link you up in here. If you post it, if you tag us on Instagram, I'll link your Instagram. If you tag us with a Flickr picture, I'll link up your Flickr, whichever. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you share that picture with us, and if you do, and if it's one that we like, it's going to get used for that week's show image. So get on it. Remember, you can do that by following us at Instagram or Twitter. We're at White Roof Radio on both of those. Just tag us there, or post it on the Facebook page, facebook.com/White Roof Radio. Super simple.
Now, do you want the full White Roof Radio or WRR?
No, just don't do a hashtag. Don't do a hashtag because I'm not going to go hashtag surfing. Actually, if you're on Instagram, just tag at White Roof Radio in your post. If you are on Twitter, do an @reply to White Roof Radio.
Gotcha.
Don't do a hashtag. Hashtags are no good. I want you to actually tag us. Put our name in your post at White Roof Radio so that I will see it and get notified and go, oh my God, that's a dope picture. I'm going to use that one for this week's show. Anyway, I'm going to feature your guys' minis. Make that happen for me, please. Cool. Thank you very much. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Get some new art going on the website, which would be dope. Otherwise, we don't have anything else. MotoringBadges.com. I want you to go check it out. There's been many changes, MotoringBadges.com, including the really cool keychain. Have you guys seen this? This brand new product at MotoringStripes.com. It's a badge in keychain form. Super rad.
It's awesome. I'm carrying one right now and pulling it out of my pocket. It's been holding up very well. This is very cool.
Very cool stuff. Go over there, check it out. It's awesome. That's under the new section called Swag.
More coming.
More coming. That's right. And don't forget the Countryman Boot Protector strip. Don't forget stripes for your Mini, designed by Mr. Pearson himself. Don't forget the top secret way to get the White Roof Radio Sunroof Delete Kit by using the contact form and shooting Todd an email. Make sure you include the color of your roof and what year your car is, and he will get you a quote for that Sunroof Delete Kit.
And don't forget the discount code.
Oh, don't forget the discount code. If you use the discount code of what?
50/50.
50/50. That still works. If you use the discount code of 50/50, you save 5% on your order?
That's right.
5% on your order. Make sure you use discount code of 5050, save 5%. At our friends over at motoringstripes.com, because blank is boring.
Boom.
The picture on the contact page, I think I took that picture.
I bet you did. I know I didn't take it.
I bet you I took that picture. So it looks like it's a Philly. Anyway.
That was Philly. That DB, you are correct.
I would almost bet that I took that picture. Nice. It makes me happy. I like it when my photos get used for cool stuff. That's a good picture, you too. But yeah, we're done otherwise. Anybody else have anything else?
No, sir.
Perfect.
Good. Excellent.
Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to check out DetroitTune.com as well, especially if you like what Chad does here. DetroitTune.com. Go there, check it out. Especially, there's going to be some, hopefully, everybody keep your arms and hands and fingers and legs crossed for Detroit Tune for the next week. We'll tell you more next week.
New things coming.
New awesome things coming at DetroitTune.com. We're super excited, but we're not going to tell you yet because we don't want to jinx it. So just come back next week. This will be awesome. Anyway, we're done for the week, guys. Thanks again for listening, for following. If you are a patron, thank you very much for helping to contribute and keeping White Roof Radio going, helping start Ride Bikes Radio. If you want to help us out that way yourself, you can do that over at patreon.com/White Roof Radio. There's a link at whiteroofradio.com. Any help is always appreciated. Thank you very much. But otherwise, we are done for the week. This is the part of the show where I like to make the funny clicking sound, and then I say... Questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and click back over to whiteroofradio.com. There you can leave us a note in the show notes. You can also email us, feedback@whiteroofradio.com. Until next week, gang, this is DB. I'm done.
Cheers.
See ya.